Hey, everybody. This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous and good looking friends. We are now at part 8 of our crazy days and nights blind item review. Continuing on. March 21st, 2021. Speaking of the illiterate one, get this. That kissing ass of the state's A-plus lister has paid off. The state's A-plus lister promised that if the ailing, aging senator retires, that he will replace her specifically with a black woman. Guess who is on the shortlist? Yeah. Now we're talking about California State Senator Dianne Feinstein. Now we do know for sure that Meghan did have a virtual conference call with Gavin Newsom back at the end of 2020 before the election. What they discussed is uncertain. However, there is no doubt in my mind that Meghan was thinking about politics during that time. There was discussion or chatter about Dianne Feinstein retiring and not running again in 2022. However, that has changed. Even though her husband had passed away, Dianne Feinstein is still going to hold on to her seat. Now, Meghan, the idiot that she is, decides to go above Dianne Feinstein's head. As you remember, she had wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer about paid parental leave and then decided to call Dianne Feinstein's peers about this cause that she was championing. Now, if I were Dianne Feinstein, I would be like, who is this bitch trying to overstep my role as senator and reach out to my peers without even consulting with her? Which, in all honesty, that was totally disrespectful. And if you haven't seen Bookworm's latest video, I'm glad that Bookworm reached out to Dianne Feinstein and made her aware of the deceitful, manipulative Meghan Markle. Check it out. I'll link the video down below. Now, this next blind item is really good. It says, I know the author hired to dig up dirt on the illiterate one has already scheduled an interview with her most recent ex. It will be centered on her cheating on him, and that is Tom Bauer. Now, the ex that they're referring to, I'm going to bet that it was Corey Vitiello, because in Tom Bauer's book, Revenge, it does go into detail around the funkiness of the dates, as well as some intimate thoughts that only Corey would be able to disclose. Now, his name was not listed as someone who was on record speaking to him in the back of the book for references, but Tom Bauer did say that he spoke to 80 people, a majority of them who did not want their name on record. So I'm going to guess that Corey did speak to Tom Bauer, and what is in that book is the truth. The illiterate one has spent the past 2 weeks offering to host fundraisers for politicians in exchange for their public support for her appointment as a senator, should the vacancy occur. My guess is that she took time to wine and dine my senator in New York, Gillibrand. I believe that the only way that Meghan could have gotten those numbers of those senators is for whining and dining some of these politicians. Could you imagine how annoying she must have been every minute, probably thinking of things to reach out to them about? Because she's that type of person who would continue to pick, relentless. And we see that in her PR strategy where it's overkill and you just want to be like, all right, just go away. Here are the numbers. And I think she does that so people do get tired of her until they finally break down and say, all right, fine, here, take it, just go away. And that's kind of how we feel as the public. Like, come on already. We know what your tactics are. We know how shady and slimy you are. Just call it a day. And the strategy of putting out media out there indicating that she's going to make a political run is also very telling in the way that they put out the false information about getting invitations to this or that, because they feel that that particular strategy is going to force the hand of people to do what they want. And so far, it's been backfiring on them, and they look actually really pathetic and sad. The biggest problem with Meghan and Harry is that they don't understand how to read the room. They are trapped in their little bubble with yes men all around them telling them, oh, the public adores you and loves you so much that they actually do think that they have opportunity in some of these areas when they have no concept or understanding of how the public feels about them, which is we as Americans absolutely despise these two. Now, how many remember this moment? Says the reason we all know the little detail about the illiterate one from the funeral is that her PR team made sure the world knew, had to make it about herself. And this example validates why she is such an attention whore. She is so thirsty to be the center of attention that she had to steal the spotlight from reflecting on Prince Philip's life. Instead, these news outlets filled the airwaves with this stupid wreath, which shows what a shallow and vacuous individual Meghan Markle really is. This woman has a knack for showing how tacky and how classless she really is. Now, this one I'm not sure how truthful it is, but it says the illiterate one has been told if she wants any shot at that dream appointment, she needs to vocally support the state leader and also vocalize that a recall is wrong. And that is the US Senator position. And Gavin Newsom, I think there was a controversy in California where his election or the election state wanted to be recalled. And I think that there was a pushback on not having them recounted or recalled. I don't necessarily know if Meghan had an opinion about it. Perhaps maybe Harry put his foot down and said, you can't really say this because we are supposed to stay, neutral in these situations. But who knows? If you guys have any inside information, definitely let me know in the comment section. See if you can guess who the conversation Meghan Markle is allegedly having with. Now, this is supposed to be, I think, satire, so here I go. The illiterate one. How can we do something to help the world unite and at the same time be self serving? A-list celebrity, former co-star. Oh my God, right? Like, I wish I could just take a wand and make it all go away while doing an IG live. I know what will make everyone happy. A concert. The illiterate one. Right? Like, this could be our Live Aid, except better. And with Zoom, we don't have to do anything except find some people to play in their living rooms. I would help, but I'm pregnant and I need to save my strength for some pap appearance before giving birth. I don't know anyone, and you do. So you line everyone up, and I will make myself and husband campaign chairs because, well, royalty. A-list celebrity, former co-star. I don't know anyone either, but we'll get my husband to line up everyone. Oh, except for the president. I will sign him up. The illiterate one. Well, don't tell him I'm running for president because he might cancel. What should we call this? Live Vax? Live Aid 2? Oh, how about Vax Live? A-list celebrity, former co-star. Perfect! And the tagline can be, can't leave anybody behind. The illiterate one. Oh, that's so good. Like your tags are amazing. And you know me so well because I never let anyone behind in my wake of destruction to get to the top. A-list celebrity, former co-star. Thank you. I stand in front of my mirror all day long trying to out tag lines in case I get to be a housewife. And the illiterate one says, the world doesn't know how much they need us. My friends, that is the conversation between Chrissy Teigen and Meghan Markle. Now, the way that this blind item was described, I believe, really captured our sentiments and thoughts when we heard that Meghan and Harry were now on this board for Vax Live, which later we discovered that Sunshine Sachs had a lot to do with it because they are the ones that do the PR for this global citizen. And Meghan and Harry probably paid Sunshine Sachs or had them put their names front and center as the headlining feature of this Vax Live. Now, where Chrissy Teigen comes into play, I'm not sure if Chrissy is a Sunshine Sachs client. However, at the time, she was facing some backlash over tweets that accused her of bullying. Like, it can't be coincidence that Meghan is surrounded by a bunch of bullies when she has also been accused of being a bully, and we have seen evidence that she has been. So, you know, the saying, like attracts like, my guess is that the mean girl circle that Meghan prefers to hang in is really a reflection of who she really is. Now, I'm glad this blind item has come up. Now, this is dated May 2nd, 2021. It says, even the illiterate one's favorite scribe slash lapdog had to cross her and admit she lied during the interview with the A-plus lister so she could play another victim card. He tried to do it gently so he can keep his access, but hopefully it will be played in a loop on social media for eternity. Now, this is talking about Omid Scobie and his comments about why Archie didn't get a title. When you reflect back on the behavior of these two evil people, you recognize that the entire time this was all about status and titles for Meghan Markle. Now, this is also another tweet that people should save where Omid Scobie, the flying monkey for Meghan and Harry, decides to put out there that Meghan and Harry foregone the titles for their child. And it was also mentioned in the book. Now, we all know that Meghan did collaborate with Omid for this book, so she had to have been okay with this being said. So to backpedal and to go on to Oprah and say that he was not going to get titles because of his skin color, you know what she was trying to do. It was purposely seeding that idea of if for the chance that Archie does not get a title, then immediately people will default back and say that the family was racist. And in order to prevent the backlash, it would actually stronghold the family into giving titles. It is evident that she has always thought the importance of having a title, because if she didn't, then they wouldn't have been so relentless in pressing the family during a time where the conversation of having titles for those kids should have been the last thing on everybody's mind. And they're going to use the security angle to paint this facade as to why it's so important that these kids have these HRH prince and princess titles. It is my opinion, and my opinion only, that the royal family is damned if they do and damned if they don't. We just have to think about what is the lesser of the two evils. If they give the titles, what is the outcome? If they don't give the titles, what is the outcome? Personally, I think they should not give the titles and allow them to take out their retaliation on them, because what will happen is if they do give titles to those children, that is giving status and privilege here in the United States, or the perceived status and privilege above everybody else. And on top of it, once she gets those titles, she's still going to backstab the family because she has such an envy and jealousy of the Prince and Princess of Wales. She can't help herself. And we saw her do the exact same thing when the family welcomed her. The family gave her more than she could have ever achieved on her own. And she still used the race card. And I believe that the family for a while were afraid that that was going to happen. And she went ahead and did it anyway. So if they don't give these titles, I do believe that the public, for a short period, especially those deranged sugars that she has, will make a big stink about it. But realize that the supporters of Meghan Markle are primarily bots, as well as is a small group of angry people who want to see the monarchy come down. They are not sufficient enough to change the mind globally. And we saw how loved the family was during the funeral there's no way that Meghan can compete with that. So if she wants to, you know, try again to take a stab at the family, it will backfire on her again. So it would be the lesser of the two evils for Charles to just say, no, they're not a part of the institution. You chose to live a private life in America in which Americans don't recognize titles. And Meghan and Harry made their bed, so now they must lie in it and let it go. The next blind item says, I guess the illiterate one, who doesn't use Google, also forgot about the time she said that while in her 20s, she had a coffee table book about her mother in law. Now we know this is true because her best friend confirms that she was obsessed with Diana, especially when she died in 1997, and how she tried to emulate and be her, or at least follow in her footsteps. Andrew Morton wrote about it in his book, stating that her friend said she wanted to be Diana 2.0. The date is May 6, 2021. Hey, if the old man who was paying all your bills and funding your lifestyle for the years you were living overseas doesn't want to include you when he wishes happy birthday to his grandson, there's probably a reason. The old guy is not really that subtle. And that is King Charles and the post that was made for Archie's birthday. Now, this was the post that was put out in 2021, which does show just Harry and King Charles and Archie. But what's funny is that in 2022, Clarence House posted the same photo. And that speaks volumes because that's the only photo that they have together. So how could Meghan be mad if she is partially to blame for the child not having any relationship with his family? And seriously, nobody wants to see her face because we're so over it. Now, this next one to me is just pure gossip, and it says, the A-list celebrity you either love or hate, and really you should hate, is doing her best to get a photo op of a double date with the illiterate one. The whole plan is to have the double date and then have a cry fest in Need Pads, which aka means People magazine, because the illiterate one is pregnant and having a baby, and the firebrand celebrity lost her baby. So then we will feel sorry for her and she can go back to playing the victim. Honestly, if there was truth to this and Meghan Markle had the opportunity to go on a double date with John Legend and Chrissy Teigen, she would have taken it. Again, if this was true, could a reason why they never got together was because Meghan was hiding something from her pseudo pregnancy? Now, this blind item was posted on October 7, 2020, but it wasn't revealed until June 4th, 2021. And it says, not the greatest of days for a former financial benefactor of the illiterate one. She thought she struck gold with him a couple of years before meeting the ginger headed one. Probably a good thing he found her wanting, or she could be involved in that huge money laundering scandal surrounding him. And that is Mansour Hussein. This guy, Meghan met in 2013. I'm almost wondering if Meghan was trying to sell him on brand Meghan, as it discussed in Tom Bower's book Revenge. I am sure Meghan tried to get up on that, but I bet he saw her for what she was, a gold digger. Scammers recognize other scammers when they see them. Now, this blind item goes back to what I was saying earlier. The one thing the illiterate one wants more than anything is for the children to have titles. The way that would normally happen is when the current royal in charge passes away. However, the new royal in charge has the discretion to not award those titles. So, why on earth would that be the person you tick off the most? The reason why Meghan's acting so stupid is because her envy has been clouding her judgment. She wants those titles because she wants the status. And we're seeing that this is true because we're watching this play out now with their constant bitching about the titles. If it wasn't important, then they could let it rest for a little bit. Now, I'm not fully sure I understand this blind item, but it says, It appears that the illiterate one got one of the US tabloids not named knee pads, aka People magazine, on her side. A recent cover has a headline that just so happens to be a title that is registered and owned by one of their employees. If that movie was made, there would never be a chance for redemption. And that is the In Touch magazine, which is competitor to Us Weekly, and the title was The Queen Killed My Mother. I actually remember what this was. This is Ben Browning, and he is the head of Archwell Productions and Archwell Audio. He also owns the rights to a film with conspiracy claims that Princess Diana was murdered by the royal family. So you got to scratch your head and say, who actually did the hiring for this? Did they look into the background or was this intentional? Also, if Harry is planning in his book to write about these conspiracy theories about his family, purposely trying to take a hit out on Diana, do we think that he consulted with Ben Browning, the person that is working for him, about potential scenarios? Don't be surprised if this makes it into Harry's book and does align with some of the conspiracy theories that are brought up within this film that Ben Browning owns. There's no doubt that the people surrounding Harry are sharks, including Meghan. Now, this blind item I don't believe. And it says, several months ago, this north of the border celebrity mentioned to the illiterate one that the illiterate one should publicly put it out to the world that she was trying to be a peacemaker, but the other side was being unreasonable. Even if she didn't mean it, the north of the border celebrity said at least it would put the other side in a no win situation. The illiterate one decided to go with burning bridges. The other side now, though, is using the peacemaker strategy and using language that which shows if the illiterate one doesn't accept the peace offering, then it really isn't about mental health, but just playing whatever cards will make them the most money. And that is Jessica Mulroney whispering into Meghan's ear and Kate taking the same strategy. Now, I did look back on some of the PR and press at that time, and yes, there is evidence that Kate allegedly reached out to Meghan, as you can see here, and Meghan rebuffed it. Kind of bad press for Meghan. Do I think Kate exerted energy to be strategic and stoop to Meghan's level? No. Do I think that there's a good possibility she did reach out to Meghan to be the better person? Yeah, because she would do that. And she would try to make some sort of peace. But I think it would come from a genuine place. She wouldn't, I don't think she would do it just to say she did it. Or maybe she has to cover herself. Who knows? Either way, who cares? Finding out whether or not Meghan is okay is not newsworthy. Now, this last one for this video is a doozy. It says June 11th, 2021. It is pretty remarkable that this A-list celebrity told at least one of her exes that she couldn't get pregnant, and that her foreign-born celebrity husband has always said it would be very difficult for him to have kids, and yet the two managed to whip through 3 pregnancies in pretty short order. Makes you think. Now, this topic of the pregnancies has now become front and center, as we've seen many YouTubers recently talk about this super injunction with the media. Now, I don't know if a super injunction is applied here in the United States, but it would make sense as to why the media in the UK don't talk about it. I believe that there is an understanding that there's something funny going on with the legitimacy of these children and the line of succession. However, I believe that if they do go ahead and talk about it, there could be legal action taken per this type of court order. What I don't understand is why the people of the UK don't have more of a say in getting the validity confirmed, because the people do have the right to know, since it's their money that is supporting this family. Now, if the British media can't talk about it, perhaps maybe the American media needs to talk about it. So, like a Fox News or Megyn Kelly, that I think would get recognition. Perhaps American media doesn't understand if these children do get titles and they are in the line of succession, then we're going to end up having to pay for their security and give them privileges that regular American citizens are not entitled to. So, whether the Brits want to acknowledge it or not, we do also have a say in wanting to know if those children are valid and to be in the line of succession and should be entitled to having this internationally protected person status. Now, if there is a super injunction in London, it's probably why this subject is not being talked about. However, super injunctions are by regions, and as I learned from Bookworm's video, and I'm going to put the link below because you should check it out, doesn't mean it's covered globally, which means the US has every right to talk about it if it's newsworthy. We need to get the word out, and I think the US needs to make some noise. What do you guys think? Well, leave your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell button. We have, I think, 2 more videos left of this series because we're almost there to present day blind items. But thank you so much for joining me on this journey. There's so much that I had forgotten, and now seeing the full picture, you're starting to understand more and more what the real intentions of these two really are. And no, it's not okay. It's not okay. Anyhow, I will be back soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.
It was such a fraud.